In Ollie Ops, we're making a pretty big change with how we interact with QuickBooks. This new integration will allow more visibility on the QuickBooks side of what's actually happening in Ollie Ops. To start, we'll begin with a brew day. So we go in here and we brew our batch of beer. And all of this will work how it's currently working in your Ollie account. So once this batch is brewed, before we would not do a post to QuickBooks till the end of the day. Now this post will happen right after your brew day. So if we go into the brew day, our last reference number was 44. We will now have a reference number 46. There's another one in the system for 45. So this is what is now going to come up into QuickBooks. We have now detailed out the brew day in a journal entry, so you're able to see what accounts were hit, what the debit or credit was, and a full description of the ingredient used with their cost. Also in the memo, you'll be able to see the date that the batch was produced, your lot number now for this batch, and then also your brew log ID. This also is going to work on packaging. So if we go into our packaging day and we go in and we package 6 halves and we have 0.2 barrels of loss, and we go in here and record our packaging. This, again, will work all similar to how it's currently working. You'll be able to go in and look at your cost breakdown with your batch, your packaging loss, all of those costs put together, and your packaging materials. In QuickBooks, you'll also be able to see all of this information. So this is journal entry number 47. And here you're able to see all of your packaging material used, what the actual name of the packaging material was, and their total cost, what value was pulled out of WIP or your work in progress for the actual beer, and then what the value was that was pulled out during packaging loss as well. And then all of that value will go over to your finished goods. And then the memo in here, you can see that it was a packaging run, so you'll know exactly what this was, what product was produced, and their lot code, and all the other information you'll need. The other spot that this will work is inventory adjustments. So if we go over into our inventory adjustments, let's adjust some of our grain. We're going to put this to 50, and we're going to put this to 55, and we will put this to 165. So we'll save this adjustment. You're still able to go back and look at your items, be able to see the amounts, all of that information in your inventory adjustment. But now in QuickBooks, we will also create a journal entry that is just for the inventory adjustment. So you're able to see the date of the adjustment, what hit raw materials. So we increased our grain 1 by $25 and our grain 2 by $110. And then that put a negative or a credit to our inventory adjustment GL account for $135. All this is to allow better tracking in QuickBooks and with what's actually going on in Ollie Ops. The last part that's changing is purchase orders. So now if you go in and you create a purchase order, and we will add grain into it. We'll put it for 40 bags at $100. We'll save the order. Once we go in here and we mark it as ordered, you'll see this screen pop up. This is confirming when your purchase order was actually put in. So this is the date that you ordered it. This needs to be put into place because now when you receive items, your receival date has to happen either on the same day that you put the purchase order in or later. Your receivable date cannot happen before you actually ordered the product. So let's put this to the 7th. And then we can go in and we can add our additional cost. Let's do shipping for $125. And you can see that this is showing that the purchase order has been synced. So if we go into our expenses and our vendors, we'll be able to see that purchase order right here. So this is the purchase order we just created. And now we're going to receive it. So again, you're able to receive it. You have to make sure that it is after your actual purchase order date. We'll hit receive. You can either update your lot codes, or if you hit not now, we'll create the lot codes for you. And then you can see that this second symbol has popped up and lets you know that the bill has been synced. So at first you have your purchase order, and then we'll close the purchase order and turn it into a bill. So if we go back to that vendor and we refresh, we now have our bill here. So if we go in and we look at that bill, we wrote a note saying that the line items may have been adjusted from your purchase order due to additional cost, which is why this is now showing up as $4,125 instead of $4,000. So if we go back to the vendors, we can see that we now have no open purchase orders. We automatically close the purchase order once it turns into a bill, and then you can see your open bills. The last part with this is deletions. You can now go in, and if you have not received the items yet, you can go in and delete your PO if any mistakes were made. When you go in and you delete this PO, we can go back to our vendors, and then you can see that the bill has now been deleted. So you don't have to worry about going back in to QuickBooks to delete POs that were deleted in Ollie Ops. We are now able to go into QuickBooks and delete that PO in QuickBooks for you as well. If you have any questions about the new process, please reach out to us.